Hey everybody, this is Rob Smith at the Body Project in Eagan, Minnesota, and I'm here in my office. And tonight I want to continue our conversation about the scientific spot reduction. We talked about utilizing the principles of functional endocrinology. So remember, in terms of spot reduction, if you've got a trouble area like your midsection, you have too much body fat around the midsection, you can't get rid of that body fat or you can't spot reduce doing things like stomach crunches or sit-ups. It's not going to happen. So integrating the principles of functional endocrinology and doing the right type of exercises, the right nutrition, the right lifestyle factors, you can lean out various parts of your body that currently you may be struggling with. So tonight what we're talking about is the estrogen sites. So we've talked about cortisol, we've talked about insulin, we've talked about testosterone and DHEA, and now it's time to talk about estrogen. And for women, it tends to be more of a problem area, their hips, their thighs, than it is for men. And women obviously are producing more testosterone than men, but the organ that correlates with the increased body fat in the hips and thighs is the liver. And so when we think about someone who might have estrogen dominance, so just remember this, that the body is designed to work in homeostasis. I mean, it's designed to function optimally when it's balanced. When things get out of balance, that's when problems arise. And so when a female is going through, or even a male is going through estrogen dominance, some of the symptomologies that females may experience are things like, PMS, fibroids, endometriosis, fatigue, abnormal menstruation, depression, anxiety, mood swings, brain fog, insomnia. These are just some of the symptomologies that a female will experience if they are, in fact, estrogen dominant. Now, for a guy, it's generally sexual dysfunction, infertility, the dreaded man boobs. So these are signs that you've got too much estrogen in relationship to the other hormones. So today, the challenge is there are so many estrogen mimickers because of the excess that we live in. And these are going to disrupt the hormonal balance in our bodies. So if we look at some of the xenoestrogens that are out there, these estrogen mimickers, we've got commercially raised meat and dairy products. And if you go into the supermarket, that's one of the chief differences you're going to find with meat and dairy is commercially versus, like free range meats. So if you are a person who struggles with either some sort of liver dysfunction, you're not, or you're actually storing excess body fat in your hips and thighs, you're going to want to really gravitate towards more free range meats. And there's so many other health benefits of that. Anything that contains insecticides or pesticide residues, today we are bombarded with that because commercial farming, tap water. Tap water is another thing that typically contains more xenoestrogens, parabens. So if we look at personal care products are loaded with xenoestrogens, parabens, phthalates, artificial food additives are another thing that can disrupt these hormonal balances. Foods that contain soy protein or soy protein isolates. So make sure if you're eating a protein bar or a protein shake, you're looking at the labels and you're looking at it closely. Dryer sheets, believe it or not, is another a very strong xenoestrogen. Birth control is horrible. Birth control pills obviously can affect women for years. So you want to be very careful with birth control pills. And then disposable menstrual products are another one. So these are some of the landmines that females specifically have to navigate through because there are so many things that are disrupting us hormonally. When we look at our bodies, remember, there's the aesthetic side of things, right? So if you're not necessarily happy with how you look because you're storing more body fat in your hips and thighs, that's one thing. But remember the correlation is the liver. And that can create more complex things down the road. Now, obviously, the liver is really recognized as one of the detoxification systems in the body. And so when we look at our detoxification pathways, we've got our colon, we've got our kidneys, our skin, and the liver is really recognized as the garbage dump. So it really is a resilient organ, but because it's bombarded today with so many chemicals, it's for a lot of people, their livers they're going to need some extra help. And we talked about the 5 doctors. We talked about Dr. Diet, Dr. Quiet, Dr. Happiness, Dr. Movement, and the other doctor, Dr. 5, is Dr. Detox. So sometimes you just need some help in terms of maybe some supplementation. There are really 10 foods that you're going to want to implement in your diet to help detoxify your liver. The top 10 foods would be things like avocados, beets, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage and sprouts. Garlic is tremendous. Garlic activates your liver detox enzymes, so garlic is tremendous. Lemons, grapefruits, turmeric, walnuts, leafy greens, artichokes. These are all fabulous foods to help detoxify the liver. And so if you're a female who struggles with body fat around your thighs or your hips, you really want to pay attention to these suggestions. And if you're a guy who's got a propensity to get the dreaded man boobs, then that's obviously something you want to take a look at. Oftentimes, when it comes to exercise, when it comes to the thighs, women will ask, "Well, I really want to do some spinning because I want to tone up my legs." Well, the challenge is the body is always going to try and be as efficient as possibly. And so one of the adaptogenic processes of the body when a person spins is your body will start to store fat subcutaneous and intramuscularly in the thighs, because what it's really trying to do is it's trying to provide more available source of fuel for the aerobic recovery periods. And so what happens is you get very efficient at storing body fat in those areas. So my sister-in-law Penny, hi Penny, loves to spin, so that's for you, Pen. So when it comes to reducing body fat in those areas, it's not that you can't spin. I want to make sure you guys understand that, but a better alternative to that would be something like metabolic resistance training. So more high intensity strength training in a volume setting will definitely give you better results in that capacity for really leaning out the legs. So those are some of the tips to reduce body fat in the hips and thighs. And then just remember the correlating organ is the liver. So we got to love on the liver. And then we actually have to, in terms of foods, minimally processed whole foods, have caution eating something from a box bag or wrapper. if it's got a list of 100 different ingredients, give some pause before you eat it. We really want to focus on single ingredient foods as much as possible, organic foods, free range meats, and that's really how we're going to optimize our hormonal system and really look our best aesthetically, feel our best, and perform our best. So tomorrow I'm going to be talking a little bit about growth hormone and sleep. And so if you got some value out of the video, if you learned something from the video, please like the video. If there's a friend or family member that you think can benefit from this information, please share the video. And if there's any questions that you might have, be sure to drop those in the chat box, and then tomorrow I can either address those. But stay tuned tomorrow. You're definitely going to want to learn a little bit more about growth hormone and the body fat storage sites, and then how that can disrupt sleep and what we can do to optimize sleep. So until I see you tomorrow, be well.